Hi guys, I'm back today with another marker speed paint. So this is a fan art of Fire Emblem Awakening and I'm drawing Henry. He's my favorite character because he's just so entertaining. Like if you haven't played the game, it's on the 3DS and it's a tactical RPG. Just a quick background and really good game. So go check it out. Most of most of me doing this art was kind of like a struggle because you'll see later on when I zoom out more that the piece is really background heavy. Like because I've noticed for the past few weeks I've been doing a lot of character heavy pieces, like they're standing and they're really big and then they're doing something. So I wanted to kind of scale back this week because it's better to challenge yourself when you do art. Like that's my goal. I don't want to make repetitive art. So I want to challenge myself after a few weeks to do something that I don't usually do. Something that I think I might not be able to do, but I'll pull it off. Blocking in the sky was one of the more difficult parts of the piece because I had to make a smaller sample / mock-up on a separate paper on how the clouds would go. So yes, I did not make up those clouds while I was drawing on it. So I had an idea what I wanted the clouds to look like, but I also had a few reference photos handy just to kind of like have a grasp on what the clouds look like. So when doing drawings that are really background heavy or just drawing in particular, knowledge is power. Like references will make your art better. It's not cheating, like unless you really copy the reference, but using reference is not cheating. It'll help make your art better because you're not drawing from memory. There's something to base it on. So I blocked in the shape of the clouds in the sky, but I'll go back later to add more definition. I kind of want to do a bit of everything in the image just to kind of balance it out, because if I define the sky immediately, it tends to look a bit unbalanced. So I'm starting to color in Henry and I'm just doing a bit of shading, mostly violets, because his color palette has a lot of desaturated bluish violet in it. So the usual shadows. Then I try to pay attention to where the light is coming from, the light source, and then so that I plan out the shadows accordingly. I also had to do a lot of mixing on the paper to get the purple for Henry's clothes because I didn't have a shade of purple like that. And I guess that's like a situation a lot of artists will run into, especially if you have a limited amount of markers. So don't be afraid to layer the colors on the paper, like what I'm doing now with the cape. Because his cape is supposed to be a bit bluish violet, but kind of grayish. So yeah, I had to layer. Just doing a lot of details. I had a concept for this scene where Henry's motif is kind of like a crow, or is it a raven? Remember, it's been quite a while since I played the game. Yeah, but kind of wanted to incorporate that into the drawing. Like, I didn't just want to draw Henry, I wanted to draw a scene that would make sense for his character. Fire Emblem is one of my favorite games because apart from it being a really good game and it's fun and the graphics and just everything, like it holds special value to me because it was given to me by my friends in college for my birthday. Like they surprised me with the game. Like we went into the game store and then they bought it and like go to the cashier. I'm like, why? And when I check it out, it's like, oh my god, it's Fire Emblem. So yeah, it's a bit of rambling and background why I love the game. But yeah, like some games or even anime, like they just have this special value and it's really nice. Because I find that the special value tends to make you more inspired. So if you have any games or anime that hold some special meaning to you, just comment down below. Like I want to know. It's really interesting to hear other people's stories because yeah, sometimes I hear like other people like they have some favorite anime because when they were kids they watched it a lot, or for some games because they used to play with their families. I started coloring in the rock here, and like at first when I was doing the piece I thought that the sky was the most difficult part of it, but then I started doing the rock and then oh my god, it's just really difficult, but yeah, I pulled through. I wanted the rock to be kind of like a varied... I want it to be varied colors because I don't want it to be like just gray. So while I do the lighter colors in a very light gray and then some of the base shadows, later I'll come back and then I'll layer in some warmer gray and then I'll layer in greens and beige. Yeah, there. Sorry, some of the footage got cut. My camera stopped recording suddenly. And I add the grain by dotting it a bit. But then later I'll tone it down because the dotting kind of looks fur-like, kind of like a leopard, and I don't really like the effect for a rock. I'm going to glaze it over later. But it's a nice technique for making textures with the marker. So yeah, like kind of stipple the marker, dot it lightly a lot, and then if you find that the texture sticks out a bit too much, just lay down a color you use for the background color or a different color just to tone it down. It makes a subtle texture that's nice. For the rocks, I recommend, like, if you have a hard time doing background elements, look at a lot of reference photos because, yeah, as I said earlier, knowledge is power, and like if you're having trouble, like, looking at references isn't cheating. It's like you have to know how to do something. You have like to know how to draw something. You have to know what it looks like. If you don't know what it looks like, how can you draw it well? For the feathers, I did the same thing with the rocks. Like, I just dot the marker around. It's kind of irresponsible, but the feathers kind of look natural that way, and I like it. And then I'm starting to go back in the clouds, although I didn't want to make the clouds too defined because if I add too much detail to the clouds, it'll stick out more than the subject and the rock, so kind of don't want to do that. And then I'm starting to add a gradient for the sky because the sky is darker at the top and it gets lighter at the bottom where the horizon is. For this sky, like, I recommend for coloring skies, make the transition as smooth as possible, although you really can't evade some streaking. It's natural with the markers, but having a smooth transition makes it look nice. And if you adjust the gradient, like if you feel like there's too little dark space up top and then at the bottom there's just so much of the brighter space, like try to make adjustments. That's what I did. Yeah, so I'm constantly going back and then I'm trying to blend. I'm using 3 colors for the top, like the darkest blue and then like a middle blue and then the lighter base blue I used earlier to block out the clouds. For background heavy scenes, like, it's important to be really patient because it takes time to make the background elements look nice. At first they look really sketchy and weird. Like, I think this piece took me around probably 4 to 5 hours. There was a lot of agony, but one thing that you can do to help yourself is to plan early. Like, before you start the drawing, collect whatever references you might need, plan out the scene, make thumbnails. That's what I do, and I make drafts and then I experiment with the color schemes. And then block out the bigger shapes and then do detail. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any suggestions for the next video, just leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you think. I'll be back next week with a new video. Thanks for watching!